Hello everyone, how are y'all doing? I hope you've been enjoying your day so far. Thank you so much for joining. I am here in this beautiful forest. I'm taking a break and I'm going for a walk and I am reflecting a bit. Because the last week was a bit of a struggle. I have so many ideas, I have so many creative endeavors that I want to pursue. But somehow I found myself getting stuck for the same reason over and over again, which is kind of annoying. And that being the voice of self-doubt. So whenever I got an idea, whenever I got the impulse to act and create, these doubting thoughts came up, like, is this going to be beautiful? Is this going to be good enough? How am I going to make that happen? Where does that lead to? Blah, 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 blah. Like this internal chatter that prevents me from acting, and in this way keeps me stuck in the same behavior. So, what am I doing? Well, I'm here walking and talking to you. No, seriously. I am pretty sure that each one of us can relate, like was in a similar situation, and my intention is to just open up the space for us to have that kind of conversation, to have a look at it and take a step back and observe our behaviors and habits. So, yeah. Well, I think I go to my favorite place now. To the river. I'm going to show you. It's beautiful. So, what do I do when I find myself in those kinds of situations where I encounter these thoughts? Well, most importantly, I think, is not believing them, not getting lost in them, naming them, and in doing so, getting an overview of the situation and realizing what kind of situation I'm in. And then for me, it's about getting to the root of where that voice of self-doubt, that feeling of insecurity originates. And lastly, it's about doing the necessary thing that I know will bring me out of that pattern. Like in every moment that voice of self-doubt comes up, I just do the necessary thing. If I want to or not, if I feel like it or not, I do the thing that I know will break the wall. And I mean, it's easier said than done, but only in this way I create lasting change, right? So when I reflect upon where that voice of self-doubt, that feeling of insecurity originates. I mean, there's so many layers to it and I can't cover everything. But what I can think of right now is that art really is the most sacred and precious thing to me, and therefore the most vulnerable and fragile part. And, you know, I just don't want to get judged. Because it hurts. Yet, humans judge. That's just the way humans are. I can't control that, nor do I want to. So I guess I just have to accept it. And actually I think it reveals more about the person itself, like what they prefer, what their perception is, and it hasn't that much to do with myself, because everyone has their own unique point of view, and that is totally fine. Still, I notice within myself that there is this defense mechanism, there is this voice of self-doubt that prevents me from acting, from expressing myself creatively, so that I don't get judged, which means I don't get hurt. Isn't that interesting? I think humans are so interesting. I mean, there are so many internal processes going on that just help us that keep us safe so that we don't feel pain. Whether it's physical pain or emotional pain, I mean, there's all kinds of different pains, but yeah, depending on the situation, it isn't helpful, right? So I cannot let that fear of being judged guide my actions. So what am I going to do instead? Well, I know that whenever I doubt or overthink something, I get stuck in my mental body. In fact, only thinking about it gets me nowhere. I need to act, and in this way I get actual feedback with which I can move forward, like adjust something if it is necessary, reevaluate it, or continue in the same way if I like it. So the way that it shows up for me is, for example, when I want to create a new painting, I try to figure out every single step that I need to take, like every single brush stroke that I need to paint, like the whole process, before I've even started, which is kind of stressful and really not the point of doing art. Like, being creative is different than approaching things in a logical way. It's about being fluid, it's about tapping into the darkness where the creative flow springs, where the steps are invisible, like just taking one step at a time. Like, as soon as I did one step, I can see the next one, but the next one only occurs the moment I completed the previous one. And this is a totally different approach. It's not calculating each step, not at all. It feels more intuitively, on a subtle level, like dropping into the body and surrendering to the moment and the creative flow, being fully present and trusting the process. So what do I do on a practical level to release that pattern? Well, I got a new sketchbook, and I said to myself that I would put in there every single idea that comes to my mind without touching it. Like, as soon as I get an idea, I will draw or paint it, and I just follow the breadcrumbs. And I don't pay attention to these doubting thoughts. I refocus and just create, and they get quieter. And that feels really good. Instead of wanting to know kind of the end result and the way towards it, I just focus on being present, on enjoying the moment and realizing one idea after another. Like, as soon as an idea comes to my mind, I create it. And in doing so, I find myself being delighted, because it's much more of a surprise. I mean, that doesn't mean though that I have no idea what to paint. Like, oftentimes, or kind of always, I have a vision of the painting. Like, I can see the object or I can see the theme that I'm going to paint, but usually I have no idea how. Like, the how is often missing. Yeah. But the sketchbook really helps me to feel less pressure and expectation in a way that, I mean, it's more like I can experiment and discover and learn, which actually fuels creativity, and it's much more fun that way. And in this way I get more in touch with my creativity. Well, anyways, I think that's all for it now. I am curious to hear what you have to say, so let me know in the comments down below. Can you relate to that? If so, let me know. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for having this conversation. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm wishing you a beautiful day, and I'm seeing you in my next video. Bye!